there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a special edition of the MrWarrenHayes Show. It is interview time today on the MrWarrenHayes Show, and I am thrilled today to have the opportunity to interview the lady that you see right now next to me on your screen. I today am going to be joined by the current Pan-African World Diaspora Wrestling Champion, who will be taking part, by the way, in Synergy Wrestling's first ever Garden State Invitational Tournament just for women. It's going to be happening this Saturday, December 12th. You can watch it live on independentwrestling.tv, IWTV, for those of you in the know. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with the Afro-Punk, Trish Adora. Trish, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Got a nice full day going, so I usually kind of like set most of like my wrestling stuff on one day. I'll make it like a Sunday or a Tuesday, so that way it's just like a nice packed day. So today's gonna be a good one.
And I'm part of this packed day, and I got to tell you, we were talking before starting. I'm a big fan of your work. I think you're fantastic. So it's quite a pleasure to have the opportunity to chat with you and for you to have stuck me into your very, very intense schedule. I appreciate it a great deal. So let's start by talking. I mean, it's the topic of 2020. It's the one that we all talk about, but I mean, it's interesting nonetheless because of, you know, the implications that it's had on wrestling, especially independent wrestling, COVID, of course. How have the last few months been for you since the outbreak began? How have you been holding up?
Oh, wow. So yeah, it's been kind of a up and down, you know. I started off the year pretty strong. You know, I was working 2 jobs. I was working a lot, you know, wrestling wise,
Sure.
things like that. In February, I won the Pan-Afrikan title. So pretty excited about that. And then, I don't know, just my birthday happened. And then literally almost got stuck in California trying to get back home. I flew out for a Hood Slam show,
Right.
for a glam show. And yeah, I almost got stuck over there. I got back home and then I didn't really understand what was going on. And then like a few days later, it was like, yeah, I don't have my jobs anymore. And I won't be wrestling for a while. And I could get sick if I go outside.
Yeah.
Stay inside. And there's just like so many like other little things to it. So on as far as like generally speaking, it was just pretty inconvenient as it was for everybody, I'm sure. But it's just kind of helped me refocus a little bit.
Okay.
I think I just kind of was running and go. I was working. I had a job bartending during the week, and on the weekends, I'd be doing makeup and things like that. So it was just kind of like a hustle. I never really like kind of stopped and got myself situated really. And I would just be, honestly, there'd be times like right before the next show, right? Like I'll be like right at the curtain. I'll be like, I just left a show, didn't I? You know, I was like, shit, I've been in this suitcase. When have I been home? Like, what happened here? Like, the days are just like whizzing past, and I feel like by the time the next show happens, I feel like I'm still recovering from the last show. So it was just kind of a thankful hustle. You know, I'm pretty thankful for it. But now that I've had pretty much a hard stop, somewhat.
Sure.
I don't know. I just kind of been able to focus on like other things. Like I've been able to focus on my mental health, which is more important than like anything to me right now, especially just trying to keep myself just emotionally smartened up, I guess.
Yeah, no, I understand. I mean, that's been a struggle for a lot of us. You know, it's I'll include myself in that. Absolutely, it's been something, and especially when the whole pandemic hit, we all had this attitude, like 2-3 months. It'll blow over.
Yeah. Didn't even understand what was going on.
Not at all. Well, right. Well, it's good to hear that you recentered yourself, that you were able to take time for yourself. And speaking of yourself, well, you know, you've let's talk about your past a little bit. You know, you've been athletic, right? This isn't new. Like you have a past in rugby. You know capoeira as well. You were in the army as well for 8 years, serving your country. And then here's the thing: what made you decide to just move on and be like, look, I'm gonna go to Miami and I'm gonna end up getting trained at 3D Academy and become a professional wrestler? What made the switch flip for you?
Well, I caught the bug like super early, like with my dad, my five brothers. We'd always just kind of like crowd around and just watch, and I was kind of seeing it through their eyes. I didn't really understand what I was watching, but I saw how excited they would get.
Hey,
To see like the
sometimes I still don't understand what I'm watching. So yeah, just saying like that.
fair.
That's
That's fair.
fair.
So you just kind of relying on the response of
Sure.
others to kind of just get excited, who to cheer for, who to boo for. So it was just kind of like some of my earliest memories of like, a good bonding moment. So that always kind of like, I was always like, okay, wrestling's cool, this is interesting. And get a little bit older. Crash and Jacqueline Holly and that little rivalry just kind of sparked something in me. I thought that was so cool to just see like a black woman like having these dope matches, fighting the dudes. I thought it was really cool, especially with like having five brothers and always having to, fend for myself and fight every once in a while. I thought that was awesome. I could probably do that one day. And you say that out loud.
Sure.
And I don't know. Maybe everybody said that, but and then one day you just kind of like, all right, I don't think that's gonna happen. I just didn't understand how. I was in DC. I didn't know of any schools. I just didn't understand what it meant. So I was like, all right, whatever. So I go to college. I don't want to ramble too
No,
much.
no,
So
no.
I'll
Please
just do
do.
like a
Please
quick little ride.
ramble
So
away.
yeah. So I went to college, for a year, and that was quite an experience. I played rugby. That was actually very, very fun. That was a highlight. And I really regret not sticking to that more, but it was such a highlight of just my year in college. I thought it was pretty dope. I learned a lot about myself, about my body. It just helped me kind of work on a team and just
Sure.
have that camaraderie and stuff like that. So I think like good team building, if nothing else. Um,
nothing like
so,
running into other people to build bonds, right? Absolutely.
right? Look, it works. No, but speaking of, so no, I go back home and I'm like, all right, I don't know. I felt like I just had to reset a little bit. There was kind of this pressure to just kind of, you're either gonna get a degree or play a sport and go be famous, or
Sure.
join the army. And I was like, shoot, I'll just wait tables and see what happens. I'll just start waiting tables. I feel like something's gonna happen if I do that. One of my coworkers actually like walked up to me like one day super random, was like, hey, you want to join the army with me? I'm just like, what are you talking about? At the time, I'm like 19. I don't know what that meant. And you see like old war movies, you kind of just, you never really understand what those decisions mean
Right.
until somebody's like, hey, let's make one. And I'm like, ooh, I don't think I can make that decision. So, that went on for maybe like about 2 or 3 months, like ever so often, be like, hey, I'm talking to a recruiter, and they tell you what they got to tell you, sell you the dream, all that, big fat bonus, all this fun stuff. So I caved. One day I just caved. I was in the kitchen. I was like, yeah, man, all right, I'll talk to her, whatever. He's like, yeah. So I'm sitting in the back. I'm like on the phone on hold, like literally talking to this recruiter. And we're just like very general, nothing too crazy. But by the time all the like paperwork and all like the initial testing and stuff went through, I went to tell my mom. And I was like, hey.
And how'd you take it?
Uh, she took it okay.
Yeah.
Hindsight, yeah, I'm thinking she took that a lot better than I thought. It felt like the end of the world a little bit as it was happening. She just wasn't, she just wasn't happy that that was kind of what I was doing. But
Sure.
she was gonna let me do what I was gonna do. She was never gonna try to stand in my way, and I appreciate that.
That's
Thankfully, that kind of comes in handy later. So, but yeah, so that was such a time. That was just such an interesting time in my life. So, uh, 19, signing all
Sure.
these papers and things, training, stuff. So 2012 creeps up and deployment time. And so along that way, I met Johnny Cross. He's the promoter at Fight Club.
Sure.
So they originated the Pan-African term and the title and things like that. So we deployed together, and that's
Oh.
kind of how we initially,
Okay.
kind of grew close. And I don't know, I just remember just little conversations we'd be having. It would be then where I'd be like, yo, I think it'd be cool to kind of wrestle. My contract's almost up. I don't think I'm gonna re-up. I'm just not feeling that I wanted to kind of do something for myself. I still felt
Hmm.
like I joined the Army for somebody else. You know, it just
Okay.
didn't feel like my dream, that thing that I wanted so badly. So just talking to him and just kind of, and he's talking about, yeah, we'll like make this promotion, and it'd be really dope. It'd be like just something for us, people like us. I feel like, sometimes people of color don't really get their fair shot other places. Maybe I can create something like that in a promotion. I was like, yeah, maybe like I can like wrestle and conversations like that. And then, look
Sure.
at us now, right? But um just that's kind of where the seeds kind of started. I was just kind of kicking sand and just not happy
So
making
no,
sorry.
sorry. So basically, like you like you said, you just threw it out there when you were a kid. It's like
Mhm.
I want to be a wrestler, and
Yeah.
and at some point it sort of falls to the wayside. You don't think about it anymore until you actually get deployed with Johnny, and then it's like, oh, well, I could actually do this. So that it's like it's you're circling back to something that really sparked you when you were really young. That's cool.
Yeah, I didn't think it was, I mean, I didn't think that I wouldn't have, I don't know, I just wouldn't have thought it was fair to myself to not at least like try it out.
Okay.
Especially, I was like, look, I mean, look, I don't have anything holding me back. I had a little money saved up. I was trying to save up as much as I could. I was like, I'll start looking. I know there's like the hub somewhat in Florida, so I'll try
Mm-hmm.
to look around, see if there's a couple schools there, and that's where the research and everything kind of started. So, 2013. So, about 2 years later, I kind of get myself situated, and I'm like, all right, today's the day. It was September 30th,
Oh,
2015.
just remember pinpoint the
And I
day.
was like, yeah, I was like, all right, paperwork's up, guys. And at that point I was kind of scared because I was supposed to be going to a totally different school. It wasn't initially going to be Team 3. It was a whole nother school.
Okay.
And my last day at my job, everything was like really final. Like I was waiting tables, I was finishing up. I signed all my paperwork from the Army. It was all set. I was leaving DC. I rented a car. That was it. And I'm driving halfway, and I'm like, "Oh, what are you doing? I think you messed up." There was like a couple times on the trip where I was like, "Ooh, I think I messed up." I only had like 2 grand. And you gotta know, the minute you move out and like all the expenses are on you now, that
Mm-hmm.
goes so quickly.
Yep.
I couldn't believe it. I didn't even, it got to a point where I like didn't even have like a place to stay for a little bit. And like I didn't have a gig set up. And the 2000 that I was supposed to give the school, the down payment, all of a sudden it was like gone because I had to like survive for a little
Yeah,
bit.
like eat.
So I was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I was so mad at myself. And I was like, shoot, I can't go back home. I can't go back home. Nope, I can't go back home. So I really kind of just tried to like scrounge some things together and get myself situated. And I got a job working retail. And so I was working at the van store.
Okay.
And it was around the time where they're doing this whole like, all right, everybody, stand up and give a thing about yourself. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, okay. I'm like super introverted, so I'm just at the thought of having to like stand up and say stuff to people. I'm just like, oh my god, I can't do it. So I'm just in my head thinking about what I'm gonna say. I'm just like, oh my god, I don't want to like talk. And so this girl stands up and she's like, yeah, I'm a wrestler, and da da da. My head flips up, and I'm like, oh. And yeah, and she's literally like, yeah, I'm a wrestler, I'm like trained da da da. And I was like, what? And I couldn't even, how that would even have come up another way. I don't know, but just that happened. I thought that was like kind of crazy. I was like, well, I'm gonna talk to her. So I got up and I said my whole, hey y'all, I'm in the Army, I'm a cool cat. Yeah, it was great. Sit back down. I'm like, all right, where is she? once the meeting breaks, I'm like finding her. I'm like, hey, what's up? And I'm sure she was annoyed with me. I was following her around for like days after that. I was like, all right, so what are the days of the training? And what's the training like? And okay, so they're there, and that's so crazy. I didn't know that. Like, she hit me to the fact that the Dudleys even had a school. I didn't even know. And I was like, that's nuts. And like, once we like talked about it for like a couple of days and things like that, I was like, all right, I'll come down to the school. Cool. I come down to the school, and Devon is just like super nice, but very like firm. Is very like, all right, this is this, and that. And I'm just like, all right, cool. And I'm just like very like swallowed up by the whole experience because, you know, as a fan, you're thinking one thing, but then when
Sure.
you especially get to Team 3D, it's like a totally different thing. They're very like respect the business first. So it was very like hard nosed, straightforward. So I was very like, oh, okay, this again, I like it. You know, so it's pretty cool. Um, so yeah, that was that. I'm sorry, I kind of rambled
No,
for
that's
a little
fine.
bit.
That's fine. So,
Oh,
no, but that's good. That's super interesting. That's exactly. So it's cool to see, like, you know, the how you went through it and your own doubts on the ways. Like, is this the right thing? But look,
ooh.
it's paying off, right? And you know, like you're the inaugural Pan-African World Diaspora Wrestling Champion. That's right. Set up over at Fight Club. And look, you mentioned it yourself, right? You grew up in a household with, I think, five brothers, right? Something like that. And you'd watch WWF. You mentioned it. You know, you saw Jacqueline on TV, and you're like, hey, I can do this too. You know, the Pan-African title. Obviously, it's title that was created with a deep connection to African culture as well, and in the tournament. On top of that, you were the only woman in the tournament, so you did beat up a bunch of dudes to get the title.
Yeah.
So considering all of that, and considering, you know, that you know, you saw Jacqueline on TV and that inspired you, you know, how does it feel for you to be in this position where you're holding you're the first representative of a title that's very, very meaningful. You're a woman to hold it first, a woman who was the sole woman in the tournament. How does all of that, how do you feel about all of that? It's a
I
lot, right?
It's yeah, it is. It's like such an honor to, you know, it's I feel like with every big victory, I feel like it's such a relief, but then there's like of course more work on top of that. And I feel like now the hard work doesn't feel so daunting. It feels like something I'm proud to do.
Right.
I'm happy to defend this title everywhere that I go. I'm happy to bear that standard, and you know, I'm happy to carry myself in a way that a champion should. You know what I mean? And it's because of, you know, this title that I just see things so differently. I felt like I just put on a pair of glasses or something. I just feel like everything just everything, even just how I feel, even about my own path and my own career.
Okay.
It really just changed my outlook on everything. I Before I moved back home, you know, and just kind of got resituated and re-linked up with Johnny and all this even started, I just felt so just emotionally trapped
Right.
in a way. I felt very unhappy with just everything that I was doing. I just wasn't a happy person. I feel like I was maybe sometimes even like lashing out, you know, just in my personal life and things like that. And I feel like in a way that having to hold this such prestigious, you know, this is such a big deal. This is so important to Johnny. This is his dream, you know,
Mm-hmm.
something that he's been talking about for years too. You know, the same way that I've been talking about this for years too. There's a lot riding on this, and to be the person to hold this first, I just, you know, I always want to do it justice, and I'm so happy and honored that it got to be me. You know, I always think that the universe just shows you certain things
Sure.
at certain times. I think that especially this year, and just everything, and especially just how things have just happened and just shifted personally for me, professionally for me, just fighting all my demons. I just feel so much better, and I hold my head up high. Even like I feel confident as a person outside of wrestling. You know what I mean? And that's
Absolutely.
like so cool. You know, I don't even want to get like mushy about it, but it's just like really cool. And I'm hoping that like some little girl sees me and is like, oh, that's cool. So I guess I could do whatever. You know what I mean? You know,
Yeah.
and it took me seeing Jacqueline. I hope somebody sees me, you know, and thinks that that's cool, and maybe tries for something maybe they wouldn't have tried for, and
Sure.
trailblaze in their own little way, you know, in their own communities and stuff like that. That's the goal,
Uh,
honestly.
well, that's fantastic, and that's good to hear. It makes me feel good at the same time. You know, and I mean, you do carry a certain pride, right, with everything you do, because you know, currently, right now, you have the best name for a finisher in the history of professional wrestling with the Lariat Tubman.
Yeah.
Obviously, a tribute to Harriet Tubman, American abolitionist icon. Where'd you get the inspiration for it? Like
Yes.
outside of the obvious, like what, I mean, what, just tell me about it a bit.
Yeah, so there's two. My mom, she used to work at the Harriet Tubman's Women's Shelter in DC, and so she's always been like doing like outpatient care and things like that for people with addictions. And so just working at a women's shelter and things like that was
Sure.
just so, that was kind of like on my mind when I was like trying to develop it. And I was Faye Jackson actually, just the mother of all, like, she just drops like a nice little bomb, and I was like, Lariat Tubman. She's like, Lariat Tubman.
So
She's
what?
like, Lariat Tubman. I'm like, Lariat Tubman.
So Faye came up with the name. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's half Faye, half my mom.
Oh, that's
It worked out. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love it. And you've debuted in your last couple of matches. You've also had like a new finisher, which is, it's kind of like a, how would you describe it? Because it's kind of like a cattle mutilation. Like it's kind of like, but also like camel clutch like. Tell me,
Yeah.
walk me through it, because I'm trying. And does it have a name? And does it have it can have a name as cool as Lariat Tubman? But I'm ready to give it some shine nonetheless.
No. It's my victory trap. So it starts off as like a traditional camel clutch, but then I begin to lean backwards and I put up my praying hands.
Okay, because it looks really good and it looks really painful. So I like it
a
too.
pretty decent stretch.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, you were well, I mean, you had a busy 2019, right? Regardless of everything, regardless of 2020 is what I mean. You had a really busy 2019. You were on NXT TV. You had an enhancement match with Kairi Sane, which is cool. But since then, you've worked in Ring of Honor, Pro Wrestling Eve, Hood Slam that you mentioned, Shine, Queens of Combat, Evolve, of course, Fight Club, which by the way is also a promotion that seeks to showcase African American and LGBTQ plus wrestlers. We're seeing more and more promotions appear, with those same types of mission statements, right? Do you notice the same trends? Do you think it's like it's a sign of progress, or just a sign of the times, like reactionary versus long-term visions?
No. I believe that this is like very long term, and this is moving forward in such a good direction, because it's nice to like, the reason that Fight Club was created was to be a safe place,
Right.
And that's, why places like Hood Slam, to be that safe, fun place where you can do that cool stuff you've been thinking about for a while. It's like a place to like showcase your talent in front of like different people, different audiences. The same with like Pro Wrestling Eve. They were so welcoming, there in the UK. So it's just really just like a cultural shift in wrestling. And even with the speaking out movement, it really is leaning towards more of a safe space for everybody. And that's what it should be. And I would only align myself with companies that are on that same wavelength too.
Have you
that's
had?
how.
Okay, sorry. Go. No, finish your thought. Please finish your thought.
Oh no, I was gonna say that's just how important that is to me. If I'm willing to put my name with it, that it'd be legit and not.
Have you had opportunities to work at places that you've turned down because of your value set, essentially?
Well, we just don't cross paths.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
I make a point to not engage or not ask, or just, certain places just got to be on an island by themselves. I'm not going to reward that with my energy. What I need to do is just, I need to work, sure, but what I need to do above all is to work at places that I feel like are filling me as I fill them, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So.
Absolutely. I understand. Okay. You were at the For the Culture show earlier this summer for GCW at the Collective. My personal opinion, probably the best show of the entire weekend, probably the best indie show of the year on American US soil. It was fantastic. You defended the Pan-American title against the former Pineapple Pete, Sug D. It was a great show overall, right? And I really did love your match. I think both of you have great chemistry together. And the show itself, though, was a great coming together of incredible Black independent wrestlers. How did it feel to be a part of that moment?
I loved being a part of the collective. It was just such a like electric feeling backstage. It felt like, COVID aside, it felt like somewhat of a family reunion.
That's cool.
For a lot of people, it had been a while since they had like been to like a bigger show or like
Sure.
seen, each other in a while. So it felt like one big family reunion. It was all good, just saying hi to everybody. And, Suge is just world class, of course. A fellow journeyman. I like to liken myself to a journeyman as well. Um, but I respect Suge a lot, and I
He's a
really
good guy.
appreciate what we were able to do out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and more of that to come. Absolutely, I would love nothing more than to continue to showcase myself, showcase this beautiful Pan Af title, and of course just showcase technical wrestling.
Absolutely, and you're I mean you're very good at it, and we have the title is very pretty. Like it is a good looking title belt. Would you look at? Oh yeah, yeah. Give it some love.
I
Look
gotta
at those
shine it
side
a little bit
plates.
more. Let's see. Let's start here.
Look at that.
These are so cool.
It's a beautiful title.
It is.
Yeah, and the colors. It's just beautiful. Yeah, I.
So pretty.
I mean, it's a weird thing to say, but I'd be proud to carry it, but it doesn't make sense either. So it wouldn't make sense for a bunch of reasons, My cardio would probably be in the top 3 reasons why I could never.
It's so heavy. It's so heavy. Every time I pick it up, I'm like, yeah, that's right.
It's a workout.
Big gold. Big gold.
Well, this weekend you're going to be fighting, like we mentioned, in Synergy Wrestling's very first GSI tournament. Listen, these are the people that you have around you this weekend. Holodead, Willow Nightingale, Tasha Steeles, Gabby Ortiz, Jordan Blade, Riley Shepard, Erica Lee. As they say in the business, this is stacked. What are your thoughts overall on the competition, on these women that we have that Synergy has around?
I love this. I love a good tournament. I love like bracketology. I love just kind of like looking and just really delving in and just thinking about all the possibilities. I love just kind of being in the throw of things and just kind of having a lot of options as to how things could go, and just I'm seeing Holodead on the other side. I'm like, what's up? I see Willow on the other side.
That's exciting.
Right?
Yeah,
So I'm looking around. I'm like, all right, I see you, Tasha, girl. What's up?
well, yeah, because like on your side,
hey, Jordan.
on your side of the brackets, you have Tasha Steeles and Lee, who are on your side. But you're going to be starting off against Jordan Blade. That's your opening match. And I had a chance to speak to her a couple of weeks ago, actually. And she said, because we were talking about the GSI at that point, and she said, even before this, one of her dream matches was to have the opportunity to wrestle you. And it's happening right there on Saturday. So she's super stoked about it. What about you? How do you feel about Jordan Blade?
I'm super stoked. I respect Jordan. Of course, I run along the same circles along the East Coast. So we've been on the same card a few times. I've seen her around. I really respect what she's doing. She's in a tag right now, intergender tag with Elo Neal, and I'm just like, smartly done. They're very sharp, and I'm just very excited to be able to work with her, especially with her Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background.
Right.
So I think that'll mesh very well. A little bit of technical wrestling.
I think it'll go. Excited. Yeah, exactly. Some Brazilian jiu-jitsu, some capoeira. I think there's a nice mix here. And you beat Elo O'Neill during the tournament for the Pan-African title, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. So why not just knock out both members of the tag team at this point, right?
Yeah, that's the plan.
It's going to be an exciting weekend. Like, what would be your let's say, what would be your ideal finals for the GSI this weekend? What would be like? All together, the final match of the tournament. Who should it be? It can be you, and no one will blame you for saying that you should be in the finals. I'd be okay with that.
I was gonna say it should be me. I mean, look, as a general rule, always say your own name first.
Absolutely.
But,
Yep.
So yes, I would love to be in the finals. I would. I mixed it up with a Holodead in the UK. I'd love to rehash that, redo that. I had not had a chance to work with Willow at all. So
really? Okay.
That would be a really lovely time. I really respect her as a competitor. She's like white hot right now too. Um, Steals, yes. Me and Tosh worked earlier this year too at Primetime Pro Wrestling in
Right.
DC. So yeah, that was a good time. So I'm looking for. I mean, I'm ready to just knock anybody out. Even like, look, Riley Shepard, that'd be fun.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm just anybody. Let's go.
All right. Well, that
Ready.
I think that's the perfect tournament attitude to have, frankly. Just like just go go go. Um so you've been doing well on the indies, and I mean, your star is rising. I think that's undeniable. Have you been, that's the kind of question you ask. Have you been in talks with any, major nationwide promotions that may have a cable TV deal? Have you been in talks with anyone or?
Well, all the doors are open, every single door, and that's the beauty of like being independent. To
Sure.
just have the freedom to just choose. So there are lots of doors that are open, and I'm making eye contact through a couple of them. I've waved through a couple of them. They waved back through a couple of them.
Oh, that's
So
cool. That's
we'll
cool.
see.
Okay. All right.
Reach in for a handshake. We'll see what happens. I might get in the door. We'll see. But I think that 2021 is absolutely going to be my year. I said that about 2020, and even with COVID, I feel like largely I feel like I've owned the year somewhat.
I'd
I'm
agree.
ready to I'm ready to run it back next year. Even with like scoring on the PWI both lists, just I don't know. I'm just ready for the next stage. I'm ready for these next steps. And with, training more extensively under Jonathan Gresham, I trained under him with his Grapplers Guild program earlier in the summer. So I'm ready to go. I'm ready to keep moving forward. And I couldn't be sure through which door, but they are all open.
They're
And
all open.
they're all open. And I'm happy about all the options either way.
I love
And
the
I'm happy to work independent too, the freedom to choose everything,
Sure.
so
Absolutely. I just love the image of, opening a door a bit and then you see Trish's face. Hey, how you doing? And putting a hand
hey.
through, it's like, hey, how you doing? I just love that image. Like 2021, what would be like your top goal? What would be something that you'd be like in 2021? This would
All
be
right.
this would be something I'd really like to nail.
All right. Well, COVID aside, right?
Oh,
So
yes, sure.
right. Okay, perfect. Good. Because I was gonna get super ambitious. Okay. So I would love to go back to Japan and do a longer tour.
Yes, because you were with
3 months.
Wrestle One for a while, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. I'm manifesting it all now, so we're gonna we're gonna light something right now. We're gonna wave some sage in the air and get it right. Um, so a tour in Japan, another tour in the UK, another 3 months. I want to really begin to like travel. I want to go along the West Coast and really like go up and down the coast. Work in um, work in Vegas. Something like
Okay.
that. I want to break the market in the South. I want to work in Texas, things like that. I want to go to Canada. I was supposed to work for C4 and it just kind of didn't pan out. And I'm
Ah,
just
that
like,
sucks.
oh,
C4 is a good place. It's a good spot.
really bummed about that. But
Yeah.
you know what? I'm gonna break into Canada too. It's like I got my passport ready, got a couple masks. Let me know when I can come through. I'll stop by. And I've already communicated a little bit with Pro Wrestling Eve. I've kept in contact with even UK Dragon Training Pro. They were out in Wales, so I've trying to keep those connections, and that's another thing too. That's been the lesson this year too, to kind of keep those connections
Yeah.
and things like that. You just never really know just how things can just turn out, honestly. So,
So yeah,
but
it's a good time to reaffirm those relationships. I agree. I agree.
yes, yeah, but for sure. Oh, and I gotta have that match with Gresham. It was supposed to
It
happen
was
at Black
supposed.
Label,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just bummed out it didn't. But you know what? More time for me to watch even more of his matches. I feel like at this point I might have watched every single one of his just like as far as like study tape, just thousands of like hours that my eyes are gonna pop out of my head, but I'm just like super excited about it. So I'm just looking to kind of continue to grow as a wrestler too, and to just keep working more opponents, male, female, non-binary, just everybody under the sun. I enjoy working at places like Hood Slam that have like more of an edgier crowd that And then there's like other places that have like more of a PG-13 crowd. They're
Sure.
meant to be a little more on the kid-friendly style, you know. And then in the South and up north and up in New York and overseas, it's just I want all of
You just want to go.
that.
That's all. You just want to
Yes,
go. That's it.
yes.
I can get behind
I've
that.
had such a good time like with wrestling that I just I just kind of want to just lean in, you know.
Sure.
And I was having and this is like me without a job in the way up till maybe like this year. I'd always kind of had a gig to go back to, a couple of gigs to go back to, but now I'm kind of like running out here in the wind, so
Oh,
even more incentive and less holding me back.
well, there you go. So hopefully your 2021 will look a little more like that. I'd really dig that, and we all need to see more Trish Adora. To wrap the look, thank you very much. Thank you so much for joining me today, Trish. If anyone would like to make sure that they follow you and ensure that they don't miss out on anything related to you, future bookings, that documentary that you're a part of as well, tell the people where they should follow you on the social media stuff.
Yes. So Trish Adora 202. That's on Instagram. That's on Twitter. Also on Snapchat, you know.
Yeah.
And I also have an athlete page on Facebook. Around the Way Girl is the title there.
Okay.
So that's where I post like most of my upcoming like things, like little seminars and upcoming like matches and things like that. Other than Synergy, that will be it for this year as of right now. Next year, let's see, I'm going to Ohio Wrestling Alliance, and so that'll be a fun time. I'll be defending my title again against Don't Die Miles, good old Miles Morales. I'm gonna tie him up into a little ball. It's gonna be great.
He's been warned.
Bounce him around like it's gonna be awesome. Oh, it's gonna be great. No, he likes to fly high, and I'm like, no way, we're keeping it down.
We're keeping it on the ground. That's fine. I'm good with that. Good.
So yeah, that's for next year. But yeah, I got other than Synergy, that's kind of my church announcement. So.
Sure. All right. Well, that's cool. And that's follow Trish everywhere on social media. Then just to make sure that you don't miss a single one of her matches moving forward. You got to keep your eye on her, because oh boy, it's gonna be. I think 2021 is gonna be a great year for you. But this was a great talk, and I can't tell you enough how much I appreciated having a chance to talk to you. Don't make sure that you don't miss her this weekend. December 12th. I don't know. Time is all wibbly wobbly for me these days. December 12th at Synergy Wrestling, the women's GSI. Watch it on independentwrestling.tv. She'll be there. A whole bunch of other women will be there. It'll be a good time. Again, Trish, thank you very much for joining me today.
Yes, I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much. It was a good time.
Pleasure was all mine, and thank you everyone for watching. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. You guys know how it works by now. You don't need me to walk you through it. There you go. Thank you all very much for joining us.